Someone gives you 10 compliments today. You barely notice them. Then one person says something slightly critical, almost offhand, and it's still playing in your head at midnight. You didn't choose to remember it that way. But the real answer to why isn't about insecurity. It's about a survival system that's been running in the background of your mind for millions of years, and it never got the memo that the world changed. Think about how strange this actually is. 10 good things. And the one bad thing wins every single time without you ever agreeing to that trade. In 2001, a psychologist named Roy Baumeister, along with a team of researchers, published a paper that became one of the most cited studies in modern psychology. Its title was simple: Bad is Stronger Than Good. Baumeister's team reviewed decades of research across relationships, memory, emotion, and learning, and found the same pattern showing up again and again. Negative events, negative feedback, negative experiences consistently carried more psychological weight than positive ones of equal size. Not slightly more. Substantially more. This wasn't a quirk of modern life. It runs far deeper than that. Picture an early human, tens of thousands of years ago, walking through unfamiliar terrain. A rustle in the grass might be nothing, or it might be a predator. Getting that judgment wrong in one direction costs you almost nothing. You flinch at a breeze, feel silly, move on. Getting it wrong in the other direction costs you your life. There's no symmetry there. None at all. A missed threat can kill you. A missed reward just means you go hungry a little longer and you get another chance tomorrow. So evolution didn't build a brain that weighs good and bad equally. Why would it? A brain that treated danger and opportunity as equally important would have been outcompeted, generation after generation, by brains that flinched hard at anything resembling a threat and shrugged off anything resembling a minor gain. Your ancestors who remembered danger vividly survived to have children. Your ancestors who forgot about danger just as easily as they forgot about a nice afternoon did not, on average, get that same chance. You are, quite literally, descended from the ones who paid extra attention to bad things. This shows up in ways far more specific than just memory. In 1998, another researcher, John Cacioppo, studied something he called the negativity bias at the level of brain activity itself. Using EEG recordings, Cacioppo's research found that the human brain shows a stronger neural response to negative stimuli than to positive stimuli of the same intensity. Show someone a mildly unpleasant image and a mildly pleasant image of equal strength, and the brain's electrical response to the unpleasant one is measurably larger. This isn't something you're doing on purpose. It's happening in the wiring, before conscious thought even gets involved. Think about what that means for a single sentence someone says to you. A compliment gets processed, acknowledged, filed away more or less. A criticism gets flagged as urgent, cross-referenced against your sense of self, replayed for further analysis. Your brain isn't being dramatic. It's running the same threat detection protocol it's run for millions of years, applied now to a coworker's offhand comment instead of a genuine predator. This is where it gets especially relevant to relationships. In 1992, psychologist John Gottman, after years of observing married couples, arrived at a now famous ratio. Stable, healthy relationships needed roughly 5 positive interactions for every 1 negative interaction just to stay balanced, not 1-to-1. 5-to-1. Below that ratio, relationships tended to deteriorate. One sharp comment could functionally cancel out several kind ones, not because kindness doesn't matter, but because the negative comment simply weighs more on the internal scale your brain is running without your permission. That's not a flaw in how you love people. It's the same ancient calculator, just running on a different kind of data now. Consider what this means for your own inner monologue. The single mistake you made at work today probably replays more vividly than the 5 things you did competently. The one awkward thing you said in a conversation years ago might still surface at random moments, while the kind, ordinary things you've said to people over the years have mostly evaporated from memory, including your own. You're not fixating because something is wrong with you. You're fixating because your ancestors who fixated on threats and mistakes were the ones who corrected course fast enough to survive long enough to pass that fixation on to you. Here's the twist most people don't expect. This bias isn't just about memory. It actively shapes how you make decisions in the present. Behavioral economists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky demonstrated something related to this in the 1970s and 1980s, a concept now known as loss aversion. Their research found that the pain of losing something is psychologically about twice as intense as the pleasure of gaining something of equal value. Losing $20 doesn't just feel bad. It feels roughly twice as bad as finding $20 feels good. Your brain isn't measuring gains and losses on the same scale at all. It never has been. That single asymmetry quietly steers an enormous number of decisions you'll never trace back to it. Why you hesitate before taking a reasonable risk. Why one bad review outweighs 50 good ones in your mind. Why the fear of losing something you already have often outweighs the appeal of gaining something better. So what do you do with a brain that's permanently tilted this way? You can't switch the bias off. It's not a setting. It's structural, built into how your nervous system evaluates the world, and trying to will it away tends to fail the same way trying to will away hunger fails. But you can learn to recognize the tilt while it's happening, which changes your relationship to it even if it doesn't erase it. When one piece of criticism starts looming larger than a dozen pieces of praise, that's not new information about your worth. That's an ancient alarm system firing exactly the way it was built to fire. treating a mildly critical comment with the same internal urgency once reserved for movement in the grass. Knowing that doesn't silence the alarm completely, but it does let you ask a different question. Not, is this true, but is this my threat detector overreacting to something that isn't actually dangerous? That single reframe, repeated enough times, can loosen the grip of a bias that evolution never designed you to question. There's a reason people say it takes several good moments to recover from one bad one, in a friendship, in a marriage, in your own self-esteem after a hard day. It's not because you're overly sensitive. It's because sensitivity to threat, dialed up far beyond what modern life usually requires, is exactly what kept your ancestors alive long enough for you to exist at all. So the next time a single sharp comment outweighs 10 kind ones in your head, remember what's actually happening. You're not weak, and you're not broken. You're running software built for a world where missing a threat could end everything, applied now to a world where most of the threats are just words. The wiring hasn't changed, the stakes have. Someone gives you 10 compliments today, you barely notice them, and this time, when the one critical comment starts replaying in your head at midnight, you recognize it for what it actually is. Not the truth about who you are, just an old alarm still ringing for a danger that isn't really there anymore.